There are more than 100 lighthouses left on the northern coast of Russia from Soviet times. They could work autonomously for many years, but after the collapse of the Soviet Union were abandoned. In this video, I want to talk about the technology behind them and their difficult fate. The person with the nickname Getburget asked me to make a video on this topic. I am grateful to everyone who suggests interesting topics for future videos. So, let's get started. Peaceful atom. Navigation along the Northern Sea route is comparatively simple now. In the era of GPS and GLONASS, it is possible to rely on the work of sophisticated equipment perfectly performing its task. In Soviet times, however, ship captains were deprived of this luxury. And if you add to all the possible problems the polar night, which lasts more than 100 days, the situation could seem hopeless. To facilitate navigation in this region, the Soviet Union built a network of more than 100 lighthouses on the desolate northern shores. Being located far from populated areas, they were completely autonomous. It was not even a question of putting a keeper near each of them, but how to ensure their uninterrupted operation. Nuclear power came to the rescue. At the heart of each of these beacons was a RITEG, a radioisotope thermoelectric generator that uses the heat released by the natural decay of radioisotopes to generate electricity. It is important, by the way, not to confuse them with nuclear reactors, which are based on a chain reaction. RTGs are much simpler, safer, and contain no moving parts. At the same time, they are quite low-powered, but a large generator power is not needed for beacon operation. Roughly speaking, these beacons were robotic. Depending on the time of year and day, they turned on when needed and sent radio signals to guide passing ships. Such beacons were located on the Kola Peninsula, on the shores of the White Sea, and on the Novaya Zemlya archipelago. There are several of these structures on the shores of the Baltic Sea, as well as on Kamchatka. After the USSR collapse, they remained ownerless and unnecessary, but they still functioned for some time. Blooming metal hunters. The RITEG was based on the strontium isotope strontium-90, a radioactive waste product of a nuclear reactor. Its half-life is 30 years, and that is how long it could keep the lighthouse running. Alas, in the 1990s, when lighthouses were not guarded and not particularly interested in their fate, they became the victims of ubiquitous collectors of non-ferrous metals, who gutted the installations literally with their bare hands. It is not hard to guess that such thieves then literally shone. In 2005, for example, the Norwegian non-profit Bellona reported, citing its sources, that thieves dismantled a RTG near Norilsk, taking the metal and leaving the radioactive material in place. Another similar incident occurred in Murmansk Oblast in November 2003. The thieves simply threw away capsules containing strontium-90, which, according to the local administration, were a source of increased risk of spreading dangerous levels of radiation, about 1,000 Röntgen per hour. The presence of a person or animal within 500 meters of its source poses a serious danger to their health and may even lead to death. It is worth noting that the thieves were caught and tried. Even the words "Beware of radioactivity" on the wall of an abandoned lighthouse on Sakhalin didn't stop the thieves. The lighthouse was built by Japanese builders to a design by architect Shinobu Miura in 1939. Later, after the war, when the USSR gained full control of the island, the lighthouse was equipped with a nuclear power source, and in the 1990s, like most others, it was looted. Inside there are still half-rotten beds for the staff, and the duty logs are on the table. Of course, all the metal structures are missing. Non-ferrous metal hunters very quickly took everything they could get their hands on out of the building. The most interesting thing is that the RITEGs, which probably worked in this lighthouse, were discovered in 2017 on one of Sakhalin's beaches by local activists. The devices were simply lying on the shore, at the water's edge. New horizons. It is worth noting, however, that the problem posed by abandoned nuclear lighthouses is being addressed. For example, in 2005, the Norwegian government concluded a treaty with Russia, under which it carried out work to re-equip the lighthouses. By January 1 of the same year, 55 generators had already been decommissioned and sent for recycling, and their place on the lighthouses was taken by solar panels. The RTG reprocessing project was completed in 2016. Nevertheless, Russia is not going to give up using this technology anytime soon. On the contrary, as RIA Novosti reported, Rosatom plans to build new similar plants that will run on nickel-63. Of course, this time everything will be done to ensure safe storage and operation of radioactive materials. The nickel-63 based units will be used both in the Arctic and not necessarily in places where the old Ritex stood, and in other hard-to-reach areas, as well as in the space industry. According to the developers, the properties of nickel-63 make it possible to create extremely compact batteries that will last for 50 years. In terms of safety, the advantage of nickel-63 is that it is a so-called soft beta emitter. There is no gamma radiation or neutron radiation. The beta radiation is completely shielded by the battery casing. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Give it a thumbs up. Tell us interesting facts you know about the topic of this video. See you in new videos.